Welcome back. Well, joining us for weather this weekend, we have Matt Griffin with BAM Weather. Matt, when we look at what's happening across the country right now, we still have quite a few viewers in the South cleaning up from that winter storm that hammered areas last week. Now this weekend, we are dealing with these brutally cold temperatures again. That's really hitting extremely far south. How widespread is that cold this weekend?
Gosh, I think it's going to be pretty widespread. And unfortunately, I think February as a whole is just going to be a very cold month. And it's certainly been very cold. You know, we take a look at the temperatures since the last couple of weeks. So you can see January 21st through the 27th. That's versus the average temperatures. And obviously, things have continued to roll forward colder to the south and to the east. Things will verify much below normal for really much of the eastern half of the country over the next couple weeks here. What do the next 2 weeks look like? Well, they're very cold. These are versus normal temperatures. And you can see here from the 29th through February 4th, much below normal temperatures for much of the eastern half of the country. The warmth will bleed east a little bit into the central plains, just a little bit. You can see above normal temperatures, but I think this cold pattern is really just locked in through early to mid-February, where temperatures could be as much as at times 15 to 20 degrees below normal, very cold. And the below normal temperatures includes areas into the southeast and to Florida as well. So the question is, what is causing this cold air and this cold outbreak that we're dealing with right now? We can see we've got a couple things at play here. One is something called the polar vortex. I know we hear about this term quite a bit, but we are dealing with a lobe of the polar vortex, which will be over Canada. And that means we have access to some of the coldest air on the planet. To the right, the blocking in the Arctic. And what I mean by blocking is we've got high pressure setting up over Alaska and over Greenland. That high pressure is going to shove that Arctic air somewhere. And in this case, it's going to shove it south into the lower 48. And that cold air from the Arctic will spill down to the south. And we're just dealt with this very cold pattern, which, to be honest, I think can persist really through much of February for much of the eastern, especially third of the country. I do think it'll be quite chilly. So what's this mean for snowfall across the United States here? Well, in general, I think if you're into the upper Midwest, getting into the Great Lakes, probably a lot of those clipper systems. If you don't know what a clipper is, it's those quick in and out accumulating snow events. And then a little bit like what we're seeing this weekend, a major winter system into the mid-Atlantic, into the southeast U.S., an area that typically doesn't deal with a lot of snow. I think there could be some significant snowfall accumulations into areas into the Carolinas in particular. In fact, if we take a look at years in the past that have had a similar, what we think is similar at BAM Weather to the pattern ahead here, you can see years like 2014, 13, 2010, etc. The blues on this map suggest above normal snow in those years. Now, we're a little bit suspect into the central portions of the country, those above normal snow in some of those areas. But further to the east, from the northern plains to the Great Lakes, you can almost see that clipper track, and then look at the blues that are showing up into the northeast.
Well, in some of those areas that need it. Matt, thank you so much for joining us this weekend. We appreciate it. Well, up next, what's behind the pop in commodity prices and how big is the demand story around E15? Chip Nellinger and Mark Gold join us next.
You're watching U.S. Farm Report. Trusted, timely, tradition.